3 copies of Liliana also in Andrew's list, which is quite synergistic with cards like Fleshbag Marauder.
A card we have not seen much of.
Yeah, 1 copy in Matthew Tickle's deck from last week, I believe, and otherwise no Lilianas in Chicago from what I can recall.
Both players are going to start off with Temple of Malady as round number 3 is underway here between Vaughan and Jessup. Vaughan going to play a Thoughtseize, get an idea of what Jessup is working with here. You see a basic forest in hand, another copy of Temple of Malady. Looks like a collected company and Hanasator or Wayfinder as well. So a lot of different stuff going on here for Jessup in his green-black company deck.
A death dealer.
You can definitely play a longer game.
A little bit of offense, a little bit of defense, a little bit of value. Typically what we see in the fair versions of collected company decks.
So Vaughan is going to take a look over his hand before making his selection. One thing about Vaughan's deck, and we saw languish quite a bit last weekend in Abzan, but not really in Sultai Control because we didn't see much Sultai Control. This is definitely a languish deck. He's playing 3 in his main, I believe 1 in his sideboard.
Yeah, and I think this card is a huge boon to Sultai Control, which definitely struggled with waves of early creatures, and now you just have a great answer in languish.
There's a basic forest into a Satyr Wayfinder, so Jessup will turn over 4 cards. He'll see if he can find a land or not. Den Protector among the cards being milled away. It looks like Forest was added to Andrew's hand, and we'll go back Robert Vaughan's way. And pardon me, it was a Swamp that Jessup picked up with a Satyr Wayfinder. Thoughtseize on the previous turn there from Vaughan took care of that Rashasha Death Dealer. He'll play a Satyr Wayfinder of his own, turn over a Garrick Apex Predator, a Sultai Charm, Dissolve, and the card he'll take, which is Land of War Wastes.
Robert Vaughan plays a lot with Chad Castell, who made the top 4 of the Grand Prix Miami earlier this year. They're both big fans of these green, mid-range, grindy strategies in Standard. Been playing Abzan or decks like this for a very long time now.
Oh, well, we're in a green mid-range world.
Don't have to be.
It certainly feels like that's where we're at, however. I agree with you, we don't have to be, as here's a Liliana pre-combat. Satyr Wayfinder coming in, offering up a trade. What a nice guy.
Yep.
Robert Vaughan's going to decline to block, obviously, and take 1 point of damage. See what Vaughan can put together for his 4th turn of the game. There you do see the Liliana Heretic Healer. A very, very powerful card. A lot of text. Right now, just a boring old 2/3 lifelinker. Hero's Downfall is going to take care of it. Vaughan will follow up with an Opulent Palace, and he'll pass the turn back, maybe looking to trade Satyr Wayfinders this time.
Now that you've seen Liliana out of Andrew's deck, you want to trade now if you can, because you just don't want random stray creatures in play that allow him to sacrifice for value or find some other way to make Liliana easy to flip over.
That's why you saw Vaughan trade so quickly with Satyr Wayfinders there.
Yeah, did not leave it back to block. He's just looking to keep the board as clear as possible to blunt the impact of a follow-up Liliana.
Deathmist Raptor. And a passing of the turn back to Vaughan. Vaughan will draw a card. There's a polluted Delta. Gonna be land number 5. He'll just pass the turn back. Sultai Control, a deck that was put on the map by Gerard Fabiano in the Open Series back during Season 1 when we were in Washington, D.C. A dominant performance by Gerard that weekend. Here comes Deathmist Raptor.
And really the debut of Wayfinder showing up just in control decks to facilitate delve cards.
Vaughan going to sacrifice Blue to Delta here. He's down to 12.
We jokingly referred to it at the time as, you know, splashing green for mana fixing.
Yes.
We've brought that up before, but Satyr Wayfinder was doing so much more in Gerard's deck.
It's not quite the Crows and Tusker splash for green.
No.
Like we saw many, many moons ago in Astral Slide decks.
Get some, you know, stuff in my graveyard for delve spells, have a chump blocker to protect Ashiok. It did a lot of work for Gerard that weekend.
Vaughan will draw. It's a copy of Dissolve. He'll play an island. He'll just pass the turn back. He's in no rush. Here's a Collected Company. That one's dissolvable.
Yes. Robert may not know exactly what Andrew is up to, but you counter that card.
Yeah. Vaughan scries on top. Jessup will draw. Deathmist Raptor into the red zone. There's a Vile Blight. Aggressively looking to get the Raptor off the table.
I get a sense that Andrew's deck is very difficult to beat just by casting removal spells. He seems really well suited between, Death Mist Raptor, Den Protector, and Collecting Company. Seems very well suited to play that kind of game.
There's a Warden of the first tree. Jessup will pass the turn back. Vaughan will draw.
Robert really needs to find something like Dig Through Time or one of his Planeswalkers. He is going to be swimming upstream if he tries to play this entire game off of Heroes, Downfalls, and Bile Blights.
Oh, there's a Morph. Little card advantage there in Den Protector. Vaughan does have a copy of Languish in the grip. Jessup staring, and looks like a couple copies of Heroes Downfall right now. Warden of the first tree is going to go to level 1. It'll be a 3/3 right now. See what's next here for Jessup on this turn. Does have a copy of Merciless Executioner in hand. Does have Heroes Downfall too. Maybe he wants to use that removal spell to clear the Den Protector out of the way. He'll go with the Merciless Executioner. That's the new Fleshbag Marauder. I say new, sort of, because Fleshbag Marauder did get reprinted, so
yep.
New-ish.
You have a lot of Fleshbag Marauders to choose from is essentially what's going on here.
Got an Unmorphed Den Protector. Vaughan going to get back Garrick, Apex Predator. You say you need to find a Planeswalker.
That certainly counts. And, since the metagame has gotten to the point at various times where we've seen people just play Foul Tongue Invocation in their deck with no dragons, I think that Fleshbag Marauder may show up a fair bit.
Yep.
It's easier to synergize with, certainly, than Foul Tongue Invocation if you have no dragons in your deck, and it's a 3-mana Edict the same way.
There's a Languish into a Jace. Pass that turn back. Languish is trading 1 for 1. But 1 to get that Warden of the first tree off the table to clear things for Jace.
Languish is another sweet card to flashback with a newly flipped Planeswalker.
Indeed. Look at you find all these Jace interactions.
Yeah, it's really good with spells. Not counter spells, not good with Dissolve.
Yeah, that's the only thing it's bad with. It's not quite Snapcaster Mage, you're right.
Right.
Heroes Downfall going to take care of Jace. Probably a good thing that it does. Vaughan will draw. There's line number 7.
That's the power of that card right there is Jace. What happens when you have it on turn 2 and it doesn't get killed? It's awesome. It's 2 mana.
Yeah.
What happens when you have it on turn 7? They still need to kill it.
Yep.
You can't let it flip.
Sign of a good card. Here's Garrick Apex Predator.
Come out of the woodwork. I've not seen much of this Planeswalker lately.
Yeah. It's bringing a beast along with it. No Planeswalkers for it to RKO. Jessup will draw a card. Let's see what Jessup has now. He's got a Satyr Wayfinder. That'll start things off. There's a land there. Actually, a couple to choose from. Looks like a Temple of Malady will be the weapon of choice there for Jessup. So now he gets a Scry.
Oh, there's Visionary in Andrew's deck as well.
Yep. A good-ish hit against for Collected Company. Heroes Downfall takes care of Garrick.
Combo with Fleshbag Marauder. Keep the 3/1.
Okay. We're just using combo loosely today.
No, that is actually sort of a combo.
Ish.
A Symmetrical Edict combined with an expendable creature meets the definition.
See the Beast Token come across there. Jessup down to 17. Vaughan at 8. Vaughan down to 7. Den Protector going to be played face down.
Surprisingly, this is really bad news for Robert because he gets back his best spell and his Death Mist Raptors.
Yeah.
And Robert is at 7.
It's getting ugly. That beast is probably going to have to hang back on defense now. The draw for Vaughan this turn was a Thoughtseize. There's at least one Deathness Raptor down there.
And the problem with the language that's in Robert's hand right now is Andrew can just Den Protector back a Den Protector and do this again.
And Beast token coming in. It appears it is time for Languish. So I think we're going to see in just a moment Jessup will unmuff this Den Protector. See what he wants to get back. Get back Nissa. Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that works just fine.
Also totally fine here.
Now here's Thoughtseize. Nissa, Liliana, and I think Den Protector. That's
some really good leftovers.
That's a tough hand to beat right now.
Tough nut to crack.
I think if I'm Rob, I take a look at the graveyard and might move on to the next game.
It's all the same card is the problem. They're all the same card.
I'm going to take Den Protector. Perhaps Vaughan thinks he can work his way through these Planeswalkers. With the right draw steps, I suppose it is possible. There have to be some good ones, though.
Yeah, I mean, Nissa into 7th land flip into make a 4/4 and cast Liliana is a pretty good turn.
Yeah.
With Rob having no hand and no board to speak of and at 5.
It's going to have to involve dig through time to start, I think.
Yep.
Is there an Ugin hanging around?
There is one.
There are 8 lands on the battlefield. All right, found her out. Flipperoo.
Yes, this Nissa, unlike the previous Planeswalker, makes a green token. It doesn't animate your lands on that minus, so Ugin is fine.
Now here's Liliana. Jessup presenting lethal. Vaughan drawing a card. Not Ugin, and we're all done here. Andrew Jessup going to win game number 1 here over Robert Vaughan, Green-Black Company, up a game over Sultai Control. As we turn our attention to the sideboards, and we will start with Robert Vaughan and his Sultai deck.
2 copies of Tassiger, the Golden Fang, a Thoughtseize, 3 Feed the Clan, 2 Drown in Sorrow, a Disdainful Stroke, 2 copies of Negate, 2 copies of Ashiok, Nightwear Weaver, a Bioblight, and a Slumguard, the Drifting Death. Really like Ashiok in this matchup. Andrew's deck has a lot of good 3-mana creatures and is a bit slow to get started. So Ashiok makes a lot of sense here. I think you can also bring in your copy of 2 copies of Tassiger, the Bioblight, the Slumgar, and the Thoughtseize.
Other side of things here for Andrew Jessup. 2 Thoughtseize, 3 Ultimate Price, 2 Bioblight, 3 Herald of Torment to go along with 2 Master of the Feast, a Minister of Pain, a Reclamation Sage, and a Farika, God of Affliction.
I am definitely interested in Herald of Torment in this matchup. I think that it's a card that's a fine threat to cast on its own, and if the game goes on for a long time, it gets you a lot of staying power. 2 copies of Thoughtseize seem excellent here as well.
To the Star City Games newsletter we go, and with the Star City Games newsletter, it is, of course, your source for Magic the Gathering news, and it's been revamped.
Pertaining both to the website and to the Open Series, cultivated by Cedric Phillips, you get to see the match of the week that's selected by Cedric, get the latest information on the Open Series, and receive exclusive deck lists and advice from some of your favorite premium columnists, and an exclusive cardboard crack comic. Best of all, sign up right now for free over at starcitygames.com/newsletter.
That's the F word twice.
Free. Playmat, free. You have to attend the tournament, but it's free after that. This is actually just free.
Yeah, because, as you said last week, you were going to be sitting on the internet anyway.
Right. If you're already on the internet, we've established your time has essentially no value. The only cost here is your time. StarCityGames.com/newsletter. And then we send it to you via electronic mail and email.
Wow.
So if you're already
you're
already able to sign up for the newsletter, one presumes you have an email address. We send the newsletter to it. It's all free.
It's so simple.
So simple.
Andrew Jessup, the player we're watching right now. The brother of Danny Jessup, number 13 on our Season 3 leaderboard. Younger than you, I think. Only 19.
Yeah. He has the look and demeanor of someone quite a bit older.
He's an old soul.
Yeah.
Well beyond his years. 2 Open Series top 8s, looking for a 3rd one this weekend. As we have found out with most of these players, a lot of them former athletes. Played baseball as a competitive outlet. Maybe he plays basketball, too.
He did not play last week.
He wasn't there last week.
He wasn't there last week.
Yeah, Danny was there last week, so maybe Andrew will take your challenge.
We'll find out.
Biggest interest outside of Magic is music, hip-hop fanatic, and a fairly decent drummer. And then his brother Danny, of course, but Andrew is the self-proclaimed best player in the house.
Yeah. We know that Danny is the higher profile of the two, higher up on the leaderboard right now. More likely than Andrew to qualify for the Players' Championship, though I do think both of them will end up there. But there are some rumblings, both from Andrew and from Danny, that Andrew is actually the superior player of the two.
I am the self-proclaimed best player in my house.
You're the only one who lives there.
That's correct. And I do have an older brother, and I'm better than him.
Okay, that's very impressive.
Because he doesn't know how to play Magic.
Right.
So by default, I'm better than him.
Way to go.
And I would think that you are better than your siblings as well at Magic.
My brother did play for a couple of years with me way back in the day.
Okay.
He played from Revised to, I would say, Fallen Empire's Homelands. So he knows the rules. He'll look through my deck sometimes and be like, oh, Lightning Bolt, I remember that card. I think that with, a little bit of a refresher course, he could play again, but he's not in the loop by any means.
Sounds like to me you'd beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dust him up real good with the Goblin Guide. It's important to let people know where they stand. As far as my brother and I are concerned, I'm the best Magic player of the two of us. That's just not going to change.
His deck when we were kids, though, really, really spiky.
A
lot of Hypnotic Specters, a lot of Control Magics.
Oh, what a jerk.
Yep.
That's easy. That's easy mode.
Right. Control Magic in casual pickup games is so unacceptable.
Yeah, it's not cool. What were you doing then? Were you stone raining people then?
Kurt Ape.
Oh, because that is acceptable.
Elvish Archers.
Well, that is more acceptable of the two, I would say.
Orchestra Flame.
After all these years, you're still dialing up the Kurt Apes, too.
Yeah.
Just 20 years later or whatever, still Kurt Aping people.
It's the only thing about my life that gets any sense of continuity. Is Kurt Ape's continued presence in my decks. Other than that, every year is just a whole new bizarre confluence of events.
A Temple of Malady is where Robert Vaughan starts game number 2. He's got a Yavimaya Now. Perhaps a Satyr Wayfinder on the way. No, Jace instead. That's probably a little better. That'll put Jessup to the test right away as he sacrifices a Bloodstained Mire to get a Swamp.
Should have bought my Jaces last week.
I'm just getting
that sense every time.
The problem is that that's the second time you said that.
Right. Turn 2 on the play. Should have bought my Jaces last week. Turn 12 in some control matchup. Should have bought these last week.
Here's where a Shasha Death Dealer, a pretty good 2-drop in its own right. There's a Swamp. There's Hero's Downfall. And pass the turn back. Jay's gonna get started here soon. Hero's Downfall. We'll have an activation in response. Dig through time to draw there for Vaughan. The Yavimaya Coast, the card that's discarded. 3 cards in the graveyard now. And that's just his whole turn because he's got to get Jace off the table.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty powerful to loot with Dig Through Time in your deck.
Not bad, not bad.
Blue Delta, that's card number 4 in the graveyard, and then...
Second blue source.
And then... Yep, all right. We're good.
Found it.
Dig Through Time on turn 4, having made plays on turn 2 and turn 3.
Not bad. Not bad.
It's not bad.
Now, does he want to dig through time on turn 4 is the question. Jessup passing with 4 mana available. We saw Collected Company last game.
I mean, if you don't have a Dissolve in your hand, you got to cast it. And I think even if you do have Dissolve in your hand, you just got to cast it. It's risky for Andrew to some degree to Collected Company right now because it allows Robert to curve into Languish if he has it.
Okay.
And in an ideal world, Andrew wants to wait until the end of Robert's turn to cast Collected Company, so he gets at least 1 hit in.
Where's Dig?
Also, I don't know if they're still in the deck, probably got cut, but Andrew Collected Company into an empty board is a bit awkward because sometimes he's going to hit Fleshbag Marauder.
Ah, yes. Yes, and Merciless Executioner. There are some whiffs for sure. Well, Vaughn's going to take a look at the top 7 cards. Of course, he'll take 2 with him. Another 5 will go to the bottom. He's happy. I believe Andrew Jessup is going to sacrifice a Wooded Foothill, search of a basic forest, no red mana on the deck, and he'll fire off Collected Company, so we'll see what he finds. Spin the wheel, as it were. Looks like Den Protector and X. We'll figure out what X is in just a second.
I think Herald of Torment?
You are correct. From the sideboard.
I like Herald a lot for this matchup.
I've always felt it's an underplayed card. Temple of Mystery, among others, here in Robert Vaughan's hand. It appears to be Satyr Wayfinder time. So a Jace, a Llanowar Waste, a Languish, and a Dig Through Time. Llanowar Waste will go to the grip, rest will go to the graveyard. Sultai Charm in hand. Powerful Instant might be up for an incline because it does take care of Gaia's Revenge.
Yep. One of the few control cards that answers that card smoothly.
Yep.
And we saw a lot of copies of Gaia's Revenge.
Oh, yeah.
I believe 4 copies in the winning sideboard last week.
Yeah, Tonwin had 4 copies in his Devotion
Of course,
deck.
a lot of that.
That is a lot of those. That card costs 7 mana.
You already play 4 7-mana cards in your main deck.
Cut those Wrangler Atarkas, give me Gaia's Revenge.
Those 7-mana cards aren't good against that good against control decks.
Yeah.
Gaia's Revenge is awesome. That just might be a 4/4 swap.
Here come the beatdowns. Den Protector and Herald Torment. You saw Jessup take 1 on his upkeep from the Herald. There's a Rashasha Death Dealer post-combat. Along with a Llanowar Waste. Now it's Sultai Charm time. Vaughan going to use the catalog mode. Draw 2, discard 1.
Implying here that he either has Languish or that's what he's on the hunt for. Because he could have used that to blow up the Herald. Instead, he's taking the hit here and just trying to set up a sweeper here of some sort.
He is a Languish deck. Plays 3 in the main, 1 on the board. Can get it back with Den Protector as well. Haven of the Spirit Dragon. There is Languish. That'll clear everything up. The follow-up is a Satyr Wayfinder. So Rob will turn over 4 cards. Bob Light's 1, Ashiok is 2, Sultai Charm is 3, Opulent Palace is 4. Pretty healthy turn there. And Jessup just gonna untap. He'll take a draw here. Farika in the grip here.
1 copy in Andrew's sideboard. Little on the slow side, but attacking Robert's graveyard is not the worst thing to be doing. A lot of the creatures that end up in Andrew's graveyard are also expendable from his side of the table.
Den Protector will be played as a morph. Pass that turn back. Vaughan will draw. Be a great time for a Planeswalker. The window is certainly open for that. Vaughan going to take a look at the graveyard here. See what Jessup can return. Quite a few options there for Andrew. A Temple of Mystery here for Vaughan. Top card. We'll see where it goes in just a moment. Looks like it's headed to the bottom. Vaughan does have a copy of Ugin in hand. He'll just pass the turn back, maybe trying to set that up. Jessup will un-megamorph the Den Protector. Get back another Den Protector. Maybe start the loop.
This also does a little bit of work to take the sting out of Ugin, as Andrew can just leave a morph down that can threaten Ugin in the event that Robert wants to play Ugin in minus.
Elvish Visionary in hand here for Jessup, among other options. Looks like Jessup's going to play a morph. He'll pass the turn back.
And keep in mind, one of the cards that Andrew can get back with these Den Protectors is Herald of Torment.
Yep.
And that's something that can do a lot to threaten either Ugin or Robert's life total should he fall too low.
And that's Satyr Wayfinder right now, not doing all that much. Can't interact with Den Protector. Can't attack right now either. So Vaughan's gonna have to figure out a way out of this because Ugin isn't the end-all be-all right now either. It's getting tough.
Yeah, Ugin is not a bad starting point, but it by no means guarantees that Rob stabilizes this game.
Well, here is Ugin. It's going to go up. It'll target the morph. It is a Den Protector, so that's going to return something. The question is what? It's going to be Hero's Downfall. Satyr Wayfinder is feeling it.
Yep, love the attack.
Comes in the red zone.
Love the attack.
Hero's Downfall time? Not just yet. Nissa first. That'll search for a basic force. That'll be the land that Jessup plays.
Good use of resources here. Andrew feels like his hand's a little bottlenecked right now. He's got some chunky spells, and 5 lands is a lot to work with, but this turn here is great. It's another threat in play. It's a land drop. An answer to Ugin. Gets to use all of his mana, and now there's another threat in play that Robert has to answer, because land number 7 means that Nis is slipping over.
Hero's Downfall takes care of the Planeswalker. Tasker the draw here for Vaughan. Does have a way to get that Ugin back. You can see the Haven of the Spirit Dragon on the battlefield.
You're getting a really good demonstration of just the endurance that Andrew's deck has.
Yeah.
Game 1, Robert couldn't win with 1-for-1 removal spells. This game, he's resolved Languish, Dig Through Time, and Ugin, and it still feels like Andrew's got more to work with right now than Robert does.
Andrew's the one with all the cards in hand.
Yeah.
And he's the one threatening with that Den Protector and the Nissa. So Vaughn's got to find some help here. He'll start by playing a Pluto Delta.
So I think Robert trying to find a way to use his mana in such a way that he survives and has the mana left over to Haven back Ugin, untap and cast Ugin again.
There's your morph. Is it Tasker time? Doesn't appear to be the case. Wants to leave himself the ability to unmorph Den Protector to maybe grab something. Wants to leave the mana available to maybe crack Haven. A lot of possibilities with all this open mana. It's a lot for Andrew Jessup to weigh in and consider as he draws his card for the turn.
And Andrew has drawn land number 7.
Little transform. Got a lot to think about here.
The thing is, if this forces Rob to pull the trigger on Hero's Downfall or some removal spell, it's possible that Andrew can simply bestow the Herald that he has in hand and kill Rob.
Yeah, he's pulling the trigger on Murderous Cut right now. Murderous Cut's actually a great card to have right now.
Exactly. It's something
really, really good.
It's something that he can get back straight away,
yeah,
and use in the same turn with the Den Protector. If he was looking at Hero's Downfall as the only thing he can get back, Andrew might have killed him this turn.
Yep.
But with Murderous Cut, Rob's got a lot of flexibility. The upshot is, for Andrew, if he forces Rob to use enough of his mana this turn, it means that Rob does not have the leftover mana to use the Haven and get back Ugin. So that's another turn where Rob needs to defend himself honestly, and that might be the window that Andrew needs.
Well, let's see how Jessup wants to move through this turn now that he knows Murderous Cut is in the equation. There's an Elvish Visionary. And draw a card. Here come the beatdowns. Vaughan going to sacrifice Blue Delta. Going to get an island.
He is out of swamps to fetch.
Get back dig through time. There's a block.
Now, of course, Andrew did not have the information that Rob did not have a swamp in his deck.
Yeah, that's really
but
interesting.
If Andrew just suited up his creature with Herald Torment, that would have been game.
Game's over, yeah. But when you see Murderous Cut and Polluted Delta on the battlefield,
right,
it implies
you just
a certain thing.
You just assume that there's a third swamp in the deck. But if Andrew went for it, Rob could only get an island in that spot.
There's another Satyr Wayfinder. Swamp will go to the grip, Rest will go to the graveyard. Den Protector, Liliana in there. Looks like one of the cards may be a Deathmatch Raptor too. Now here's a Morph. And now it's time to dig. So Vaughan will delve away 6 cards. He'll take a look at the top 7, of course, take 2 with him.
And I really love the effort here that Andrew is making to try to end his turns with a Morph down.
Yep.
It's the best way that he can protect himself from Ugin entering play and minusing and getting his entire board. And as long as he holds back the Herald of Torment, if Rob ever his defenses go down too low, Andrew can kill him with almost any leftover creature.
Well, a tough decision here for Vaughan, but it looks like he's found one that he's happy with. So now to Robert we go. Draw a card. Can he work himself out of this sticky situation? Well, that's a good start. Clean it all up.
Yep. And all Rob needs to do is get through a turn where nothing too bad happens and he can haven back Ugin.
Yep. There's a Temple. Top card stays on top pretty quickly there for Vaughan. He'll pass the turn back. Plenty of mana at the ready.
Not a guarantee of anything because Andrew's deck's got a lot of morphs and a lot of staying power, but that's the board that Rob is trying to build towards.
It's the recipe. He just wants to get cooking.
Yeah.
That's all. Is it a Morph? Looks to be a Nissa. There's also a Farika in hand too, so again, this is a very, very grindy matchup for both players.
And there's nothing wrong with Nissa or Farika in these spots, but it's just likely to get ground down by Ugin.
Nissa time. Basic force to search for. Well, Jessup's got plenty of those. Playing 6 this weekend. It's flipping. It's going up. Satyr Wayfinder is the find. Of course, with the +1, you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, you put it in your hand. So you're basically drawing a card.
Yeah.
Now here's Satyr Wayfinder. Turn over a couple of cards.
I believe Coiling Oracle, the closest analog to that effect.
I believe you're correct. One of my favorites. All those cards are going to go to the graveyard. No land to be found there for Jessup. Coiling Oracle, a card that has a lot of text, and it's many different creatures. Ugin got a return.
It's a snake,
yes,
an elf, and a druid, I believe.
Well, we can confirm. What's this?
Ugin.
This is just, look at you. Wow, 3 for 3. You are hot right now.
Could not tell you my blood type. But I do know all 3 creature types on Coiling Oracle.
Ugin will sweep everything away. I'm going to guess O negative, assuming that's a blood type.
No idea.
Assuming that that's one that people
I
have.
don't know what they are, and I don't know what mine is.
Are you AB+? Is that one?
We'll find out when we find out, I guess.
I actually don't know mine either. That's embarrassing. All right, well, Rob has accomplished what he's been looking to accomplish the entire time. Play a turn where Ugin comes back, sweep the board. I have an active Ugin, hopefully going into the next turn.
And
Don't have to worry about direct damage.
Right, and if Jessup does not have Hero's Downfall, he's got to find some way to sequence his threats to whittle the Ugin's minus activations down and get around it that way.
Well, that's a lot of fun to do. Here's Farika, so here's an attempt at that at least. Vaughan has drawn a card. Quite a few cards in hand. Gonna minus Farika. Excuse me, minus Ugin to take care of Farika. Got to get that indestructible threat off the battlefield. But indestructible doesn't matter when exiling is being involved. Vaughan gonna play a morph. And Jessup will draw.
What is so awesome about all of this, for as rough as this is going for Jessup, not looking good. End of turn Collected Company into Herald of Torment gives him outs.
Can turn it all around.
He can still punk Rob out of this game.
That's why you seem to continue to play on here. Here's for Sasha Death Dealer. Let's see what we have here. Dig through time. Well, I'm going to delve away 4 cards and pay 4 mana for the powerful spell. You know the drill. Take a look at 7. Take 2 with them. Garrick, Apex Predator among the cards he's looking at right now. A lot of spot removal there, too, in Hero's Downfall. And Bio Blight. I also think there was a Dissolve that was just found. Seems like an auto selection. Give you the protection you're looking for. Apparently type O negative is a band.
Oh yeah, I know that. My sister was very into them when she was in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Twitter, always helpful.
I'm more familiar with typo negative than you would probably guess.
Well, given that I didn't know they were a thing until about 5 seconds ago, yeah, that's true.
Like, I can identify songs of theirs.
Very nice. Can you identify songs of O-Town?
I don't know what that is.
Making the Band, very popular boy band in the late 90s, early 2000s. Duh.
Then no.
Okay.
That doesn't ring a bell.
This won't surprise you. I'm very familiar with them.
That does not surprise me.
Garrick and his beast getting to work. Looks like another beast is on the way here for Rob Vaughan. He's looking to clean things up here very quickly so they have some time for game 3. A morph there for Vaughan. Jessup will draw a card. Looks like he found Hero's Downfall a little late. And Rob Vaughan will win game number 2 here with Sultai Control against Andrew Jessup.
Both players here definitely looking to avoid a draw this early in the tournament. This kind of game favors Andrew because he can pretty easily win inside of 11 minutes. For Rob, he can do it, but it's a lot more challenging.
Well, these players will shuffle up pretty quickly here for game number 3. And Jessup will be on the play with his Green-Black Company deck. I don't expect much to change, except for their pace of play, of course, because the draw is terrible right now.
Right, and both players identify this, and we've seen this a lot recently with the control matchups that we're watching, is that games 1 and 2 are played at the pace where both players are confident they're making the right play, and then game 3 rolls around, there's somewhere between 8 and 12 minutes, and you see both players pick up the pace.
Well, game number 3 will be underway here in just a moment. While we do wait, we'll talk about the Star City Games YouTube page, where you can find the replays of this tournament and a whole bunch more.
Yeah, head over to youtube.com/StarCityGames. Check out the YouTube page and become a subscriber today. There's a lot of awesome archived content there, like old premium articles, Open Series events, and the Versus Series. And there's some content that's exclusive to the YouTube page, like unboxing. So head over to youtube.com/StarCityGames, become a subscriber today, get notified when new content is uploaded to the page.
You know that F word?
Free.
It's free. It is free, I tell you. That's 3 for 3 on free things this weekend. Now, you know, Twitter interaction is one of my favorite things about doing these shows. Love to hear you guys chime in at SCG Live, hashtag SCGRICH. P. Sams, a Canadian Magic player, says, go figure, I turned on SCGRICH coverage to hear Cedric A. Phillips embarrassing himself with his taste in music. Typical.
Yeah, typical.
Depends on what you mean.
It's not even typical as an insult. It's typical as just an accurate summary of what's happened.
I don't understand what's embarrassing about mid-90s pop.
A boy band is a particularly obscene corporate creation constructed out of thin air to manipulate teenagers. It is...
So it's good business.
It is good business, I guess.
Okay. Look, let's not act like we don't all love NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys,
It's not a band. It's disingenuous to call it a band, is what I'm saying.
All right, let's not act like we don't love those bands, okay?
Band is...
98 Degrees, O-Town, perhaps the boy band Together from the MTV special. You know what I'm talking about.
All those things are generated by, like, really shady late 40s to early 50s music business veterans.
Moguls is the word you're looking for. Moguls. See, the great
It's
thing
not
about
a band.
The great thing about boy bands is that there are tiers, just like Magic decks. There are tier 1 decks, there are tier 1 boy bands, like NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys.
Tier 1.
And then there are very bad boy bands, like your BB Max of the world. They're very low tier. S Club 7. Really bad.
Yeah, not familiar with the chimney imps of boy bands.
Yeah. See, I know the complete repertoire. 5, do you know how they spelled 5?
No.
If you guessed the number 5 for the letter F, followed by IVE, you would be correct.
That is brutal.
That's great design right there. Here's a Thoughtseize, also great design.
I'm a little surprised that Rob has actually left the Thoughtseizes in this matchup. I thought he might get away from it a little bit, just because Andrew's deck is full of redundant pieces. There's no particular card besides Collected Company you can really point to as being a card that's more synergistic or more powerful than the other ones. And the game is going to go on for a long time, and Andrew's pretty good at playing empty-handed or close to it.
It's just not the kind of deck you can really poke a hole in.
Right. Maybe this is just a lack of other good options from Robert's side of the table, but does not seem like a great matchup for Thoughtseize. For Robert. From Andrew's side, I like it because Robert has cards like Ugin, Dig Through Time.
Yep.
He's got real hits to take out.
Jessup will turn over 4 cards here with the Satyr Wayfinder. He'll get a land. It's a copy of Land of War Waste as we're underway here in game number 3. And see the clock. We're under 7 minutes. There's a Jace. That's going to put Jessup to the test right away. We saw just how powerful Jace could be last game, even though it didn't even last a long time. It had to die. Because if it does last a long time, you're probably losing. Jessup for his 3rd turn. We know he's got a land because of the Satyr Wayfinder. And Rob's got a pretty good idea of what's in his hand because of the Thoughtseize, so we'll see how Jessup wants to navigate these turns here. He'll start with a Nissa. That'll bring a Forest along with it.
Combo deck. Combo coming. So you play the Satyr Wayfinder, and that puts a bunch of cards in your graveyard, and then you loop with Jace, and now your Jace is flipped, and then you can flash back to Thoughtseize in your graveyard all in one turn.
Is that good or bad? That's
not
good.
A shabby 3rd turn. Doesn't even have to flash back to Thoughtseize. You can just plus the Jace on the Nissa.
Slow down the Nissa.
Lock Andrew out of combat.
Yep.
Untap. Get ready to flash back 2 spells. I don't know.
This is where you say you're supposed to buy those Jaces.
Should have bought those Jaces.
Should have bought those Jaces, yeah. Yeah, should have bought those Jaces.
It's a pretty good 3rd turn.
Yeah. 6 counters on that thing, too. There's the Thoughtseize.
It's going to be a lot more expensive to buy those Jaces now, you know?
just a little late.
Yeah.
Just a little late on that one. It's not too late to get those Chandras. Just saying.
Yeah,
just saying. If you want to make your move there, it's probably not too late.
Gotta try at least.
Can't believe the blue Planeswalker is so good. It's so unusual for Magic. Jessup will draw a card as he moves into his 4th turn of the game. Vaughan has had a great start.
Yeah, Andrew made the critical mistake of not having a removal spell for a 2-mana creature.
Yeah, huge error.
Huge mistake.
There's Hero's Downfall.
Okay, not too bad.
He's got an answer.
Not too bad.
But it takes up his entire turn, but it's probably worth it.
Oh, for sure.
Because things were going to get out of hand.
Next turn, some flashbacking starts happening.
Now if you're Rob Vaughan, you're just hoping for another Jace, probably. Put him in that kind of bind again. But Rob got to do some nice selection there, some thought seizing, get an idea of what Jessup was working with, and now we'll see how he can move forward into the mid-game. He doesn't have a lot of time to do it in either.
Yep, and it looks like he's missing land drops here and has a classic chunky and cumbersome Sultai control hand.
Yeah, this is a deck that doesn't really miss land drops all that often. They play a lot of lands in their decks, and they have Satyr Wayfinder. So
25?
Yeah. 25 is a little bit low, but again, you know, when you do have Satyr Wayfinder and Jace, it feels like you're playing more.
Yeah.
So Jessup's got to be thrilled to see Vaughan miss his land drop that turn.
Got a really good feeling about the Herald of Torment that's in Andrew's hand. The way this game's going, you know, Rob's hand is a little slow and unwieldy, and most of his defense is blocking on the ground. And if Andrew can just get in a couple shots here or there while Robert's fumbling around, Herald could sweep it up even if Robert draws lands and starts doing some things.
Devotion can be turned on for that Farika too. Not too far away. 5 Devotion already, 2 to go.
You know what has 2 mana symbols in it?
Hold on, wait for it. I don't know.
Herald of Torment. Actually, currently 3 mana symbols short. So a little bit of a ways to go.
Excuse me. This says only single green.
Yep.
Pardon me. For some reason, I thought Nissa was a double green creature. That's my error. Vaughan will pass the turn back. Mana available to unwarp Den Protector.
Right now, the card Rob really needs his Murderous Cut. Otherwise, unmorphing this Den Protector, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's another full turn.
Yeah. Cut and Languish, 2 cards I have to imagine Rob is somewhat interested in. Languish not the best right now. But
because of the Farika, Languish is not as good.
Yeah. Den Protector getting back dig through time. Rob feeling he's got plenty of time to cast that. Den Protector will trade with Nissa.
Well, it might be Rob's only way to... His hand's full of 3 mana spells, so he can dig for land number 5, which he wants anyway, and then cast a 3 mana spell. Dig might be his only route to have an efficient turn, and then start playing catch-up afterwards.
Vaughan going to take 1 to cast Satyr Wayfinder because he needs access to double blue to be able to play dig through time. So, turn over a couple of cards here in Polluted Delta, Temple of Mystery, Den Protector, and another Polluted Delta. I'll take a Delta that appears. That'll be the land that he plays for the turn. One of the things I've always loved about this Sultai control deck, it is not hard for it to delve cards away at all. Farika looks like it's going to make some stuff here. 2 snakes on the way. Let's see the time. We're under a minute. And Jessup will draw. Beatdowns. I will trade with Satyr Wayfinder. 2 damage will come across. Vaughan down to 8. force there from Jessup, passing the turn back. Vaughan going to sacrifice blue. Delta go down to 7. He has a Magic basic island on the way, excuse me, for the dig through time. But Jessup this entire time is holding up the mana for Eclectic Company, so something bigger could be looming at any moment.
It was very interesting last turn. Rob had the option of taking a land that came into play tapped.
Yeah, the Temple of Mystery.
In lieu of doing this, and the only thing I can think of is he wanted the opportunity to dig through time into Murderous Cut should that situation come up, because that's the only justification for having an extra mana in that spot.
Sure.
But the cost was he had to take a point of damage. He had to take a Polluted Delta there in lieu of taking an Opulent Palace or a Temple of Mystery or what have you. And with Pharika in play, those points of damage are really significant. I mean, he's gonna get hit in chunks of, little pieces of 1 or 2 here. And it is not an innocuous thing. Like taking the point of damage there to give yourself the ability to find Murderous Cut should that come up. Rob's paying a serious cost for it.
It's turn 1 of extra turns. Vaughan will have this one, as well as turn 3 and turn 5. Jessup turns 2 and 4. So oddly enough, our feature match has all gone pretty long today.
Yep. A lot of blue spells.
Boy, here's a Thoughtseize. He's not afraid to take that damage. Will Jessup respond with Collected Company here?
I doubt it.
Yeah?
I mean, this play from Rob is sort of saying, my follow-up here is language. That's the one thing that makes sense. So no point in casting Collected Company into that.
You see the hand here for Jessup. Herald of Torment and Collected Company in hand. That's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. At least it feels that way. Company is going to be the card that's taken. There's a Swamp for Vaughan. Here's 3 mana. Ashiok is here. Up to 5. Herald of Torment, Rashasha Death Dealer. Cards have been exiled to the Planeswalker. Death Dealer, oddly enough, one that could be good for Vaughan if there were more turns to be played in this game, but he is certainly playing for the draw right now. At the end of turn number 1 of extra turns, Jessup, he'll remove a Satyr Wayfinder to bring a Snake. Something else looks like it's going to get removed as well. It'll be a Nissa, another Snake coming. Vaughan is going to play BioBlight now, so it was interesting if he wanted to play BioBlight now or wait, but he wants to play it now. He just doesn't want, he wants to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Right, if Andrew fizzles the BioBlight with a removal spell on the target, Rob's in a lot of trouble.
That's horrible news.
Can't get too fancy.
Yep. Turn 2 of extra turns now here between Jessup and Vaughan. There's a Temple. Take a look at that top card. Card goes to the bottom after a lot of contemplation there by Jessup. Next up here for Andrew, probably going to be that Herald. Looks like it might be a Morph instead.
I think that he's trying to go with Den Protector here, unmorph it, get back whatever, and then put Herald on it and hope that Rob doesn't have a removal spell, because it's very hard to block a Den Protector with Herald and Torment bestowed on it.
Vaughan, not a lot of action in hand. A couple of lands, but it appears, the action he does have is Den Protector. So he's going to take a look here at Jessup's graveyard to see what he can get back, and it looks like there's a Death Mist Raptor down there, and that's exactly what Rob has found. So that even changes some things now. So here is 3 mana. There's a Morph. Gonna bring back the Death Dealer. That thing's on blocking duty. Now the one thing that Jessup can't do is he can't make a Snake and bring back the Death Mist Raptor. Right, doesn't have
It's
enough
one or the
mana to do
other.
that. So it's definitely going to be one or the other here.
And a snake has almost no value on the board. This is Andrew's last attack. There's 2 blockers on the ground. I think that he needs to play for Herald Torment and the Den Protector. That's a lot more complicated now that Rob has the ability to get back a Bioblight and cast it.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if there's actually a route for Andrew to win the game now inside of turns.
Den Protector is going to unmegamorph. Deathness Raptor is going to come back from the graveyard. Looks like it's going to be face up instead of face down. Hero's Downfall looks like to be the weapon of choice here for Jessup. Though this will be Jessup's last turn, he gets the play of the match. Jessup will untap. We go to turn 4. And is there any way out of this one?
Yeah, Andrew's in the spot right now where he's trying to figure out, is there even a mistake I can make Rob make?
Yep.
And I don't think so, because the only play that Andrew has that forces a response out of Rob is Herald of Torment, and that's immediately going to get the Bioblight out of the graveyard.
Yes. And so all he can do is shrug the shoulders here. Maybe just try for Herald of Torment. Looks like he might be going Hero's Downfall route. And he'll use this to take care of the morph. Vaughan got to go down to 3 to unmorph the Den Protector. It appears he'll be getting back a Bioblight.
Yeah, I mean, if Andrew has 2 removal spells, he can get this done. And I think that was the reason that he got back the Hero's Downfall last turn to give himself an opportunity to draw another Hero's Downfall, but I just don't think there's anything to be done inside of the turns.
Yeah, you see Death Dealer is going to block Deathness Raptor. Bioblight will take care of Den Protector. Jessup can only pass the turn back. It's turn 5 of extra turns. Vaughan will draw. And that's all it's going to be. It will be a draw between these 2 players. Robert Vaughan, Andrew Jessup. They will draw. Sultai Control versus Green-Black Company. Not a short match.
No, not at all. I mean, both of these decks have a lot of staying power, and there's a lot of kind of ticky-tack operations that's going on with the decks, too. Between the fetch lands and the Satyr Wayfinders, Andrew's deck has a lot of little pieces moving around the table, so it's not going to be a fast set of games.
No, not at all. And that's why you do see a draw there between those 2 players. So, and it looks like Rob has now conceded to Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew has that game on the untap. Rob, under no obligation to concede there.
Of course.
He's more than welcome to take the draw there, should he so choose, but I know he and Andrew are friends, and Rob knew that if Andrew untaps and attacks, he wins the game.
Yeah, that's going to be it.
You know, often you see in spots like that, you know, if the game's still in doubt, 2 players who know each other, they're just going to take the draw there because who knows what would have happened. But in that spot where Rob's looking at his hand, looking at his board,